You know, so many artists have been depowered by the concept of money and possessions. They lose their voice, you know, out of fear of losing possessions, when the greatest thing they have is their voice. I think that I definitely have an attitude. An attitude that's fighting for freedom. I mean, my parents were activists. So if I get a chance, I'm gonna activate.
You screwing with me, Doss?
No, sir. I volunteered. I ain't got no problem with wearing my uniform and saluting the flag and doing my duty. It's just carrying a gun and taking a human life.
You don't kill.
Private Doss does not believe in violence. He does not practice violence. He will not even deign to touch a weapon.
Private Doss, you are free to run into the hellfire of battle without a single weapon to protect yourself.
You see, Private Doss is a conscientious objector. So I plead with you, do not look to him to save you on the battlefield.
We have been brought into a society that's only concern is the production of its inhabitants. If you are not a machine, you will be outcasted and shunned in the eyes of society.
Decades of sci-fi telling us that AI is eventually going to kill us all. What does keep you up at night?
I think there's three scary categories. There's a bad guy gets super intelligence first and misuses it before the rest of the world has a powerful enough version to defend. So an adversary of the US says, gonna use this super intelligence to design a bioweapon to take down the United States power grid, to, you know, break into the financial system and take everyone's money. That's broad category one. And I think that the bio capability of these models, the cybersecurity capability of these models, these are getting quite significant. You know, we continue to like flash the warning lights on this. I think the world is not taking us seriously. I don't know what else we can do there, but like this is a very big thing coming. Category two is the sort of broadly called loss of control incidents, where that's kind of like the sci-fi movie. The AI is like, oh, I don't actually want you to turn me off. I'm afraid I can't do that, you know, whatever. There's a lot of work we and other companies do on model alignment to prevent that from happening. But as these systems become so powerful, that's a real concern. The third one is, to me, more difficult to imagine, but quite scary, and I'll explain what it is, and then I'll give a short-term and a long-term example. This is the category where the models kind of accidentally take over the world. They never wake up, they never do the sci-fi thing, they never open the pod bay doors, but they just become so ingrained in society, and they're so much smarter than we are, and we can't really understand what they're doing, but we do kind of have to rely on them. And even without a drop of malevolence from anyone, society can just veer in a sort of strange direction. But this phenomenon, I think, is a really big deal. In the short term, you can see it where people we call this emotional over-reliance. People rely on ChatGPT too much. There's young people who just say like, I can't make any decision in my life without telling ChatGPT everything that's going on. It knows me, it knows my friends, I'm gonna do whatever it says. That feels really bad to me. The longer term category is, what if AI gets so smart that the President of the United States cannot do better than following ChatGPT 7's recommendation? That might be the right decision in any individual case, but it means that society has like collectively transitioned a significant part of decision making to this very powerful system that is learning from us, improving for us, evolving with us, but in ways we don't totally understand. So that's the third category of how I think things can go wrong.
So what are your spiritual views?
I'm Jewish, and I would say I have like a fairly traditional view of the world that way.
So you're religious, you believe in God?
I'm not like a literal, I'm not like a literalist on the Bible, but I'm not someone who says like I'm culturally Jewish. Like if you ask me, I would just say I'm Jewish.
But do you believe in God? Like, do you believe that there is a force larger than people that created the earth, set down a specific order for living, that there's an absolute morality attached that comes from that God?
I think probably like most other people, I'm somewhat confused on this, but I believe there is something bigger going on than, can be explained by physics, yes.
So you think the Earth and the people were created by something. It wasn't just like a spontaneous accident.
Would I say that? It does not feel like a spontaneous accident, yeah. I don't think I have the answer. I don't think I know like exactly what happened, but I think there is a mystery beyond my comprehension here going on.
Have you ever felt communication from that force? Or from any force beyond people? Beyond the material?
No, not really.
You had complaints from one programmer who said you guys are basically stealing people's stuff and not paying them, and then he wound up murdered. What was that?
Also a great tragedy, he committed suicide.
Do you think he committed suicide?
I really do.
Have you looked?
This was like a friend of mine. This is like a guy that, and not a close friend, but this is someone that worked at OpenAI for a very long time. I was really shaken by this tragedy. I spent a lot of time trying to, read everything I could, as I'm sure you and others did too, about what happened. It looks like a suicide to me.
Why does it look like a suicide?
It was a gun he had purchased. It was this is like gruesome to talk about, but I read the whole medical record. Does it not look like one to you?
No, he was definitely murdered, I think. There were signs of a struggle, of course. The surveillance camera, the wires had been cut. He had just ordered takeout food, come back from a vacation with his friends on Catalina Island. No indication at all that he was suicidal. No note and no behavior. He had just spoken to a family member on the phone. And then he's found dead with blood in multiple rooms. So that's impossible. Seems really obvious he was murdered. Have you talked to the authorities about it?
I have not talked to the authorities about it.
And his mother claims he was murdered on your orders.
Do you believe that?
I'm asking.
I mean, you just said it, so do you believe that? I haven't done too many interviews where I've been accused of like...
Oh, I'm not accusing you at all. I'm just saying his mother says that. I don't think a fair read of the evidence suggests suicide at all. Also don't understand why the authorities, when there's signs of a struggle and blood in 2 rooms on a suicide, like how does that actually happen? I don't understand how the authorities could just kind of dismiss that as a suicide. I think it's weird.
You understand how this sounds like an accusation.
And if you forget a good idea, you want to commit suicide. So you have to write them down.
What is with BlackRock, Blackstone, Black Cube? Like, what is up with
Well, Blackstone and BlackRock are directly related. Steve Schwarzman from Blackstone basically gave the line of credit that created BlackRock, and they deliberately, Fink and Schwarzman talked about creating deliberately related names to confuse people.
Oh, okay. Wow. They got it.
Yeah.
I need one of those line
And then Black Cube is admitted by Israeli mainstream media to be a front company for Israeli intelligence.
Yeah, that's another thing that really speaks me out is the Krolls. The Krolls freak me out, just in general.
They're running FTX bankruptcy stuff right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't like those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
That stuff hurts too. Like, I was like, oh, fuck, maybe it's going to be RFK. He doesn't like the vaccines. He's against all this shit. And then Spade's reading your book and he tells me, oh, yeah, they were flying on Epstein's plane and shit, which he's admitting. Yes. So, like, what do you like? Is it? Like,
I think he's a target. And like, I had so much hope for that dude until he was like, Gaza's the most pampered.
We will now report Heavenly Father, we come to you today. We pray for your spirit to move across our nation. We humble ourselves.
I am the chosen one.
And we pray. We repent of personal sins, national sins, and we humbly ask you to bless our nation and to bless our President, Donald Trump. Lord, I thank you that America didn't need a preacher in the Oval Office. It did not need a professional politician in the Oval Office, but it needed a fighter and a champion for freedom.
Have it. Let's make America pray again. God bless you, and God bless the USA.
Christian leaders are calling on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to stop a bill proposed by members of his coalition to make it criminal to tell people about Jesus in Israel. Our Jerusalem correspondent Daniel Cohen is live near Tel Aviv with more. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Allison. Good morning, everyone. A big story just before, days before Palm Sunday, Good Friday, and Easter. Sacred time for Christians. Two ultra-Orthodox members of Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition have introduced a bill that would punish believers for sharing the gospel of Jesus with prison time. United Torah Judaism Knesset members Moshe Gafni and Yaakov Asher introduced legislation last week making it illegal to share in conversation or produce content online, in print, or by mail. Their explanation of the bill emphasizes a warning to stop Christians in particular.
Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus is Lord, Christ is King, and Jesus is God. We as Christians are called to go into the public arena to correct error with truth.
Yep.
Lord, use me. Here I am. Lord, use me as an instrument for your will. Christ is all grace and all truth. When in reality, Christ loves us too much to have us continue to live in sin. He wants us to try to elevate our actions to glorify God in all that we do. What happens when we die? The answer is, if you give your life to Jesus, you have life and life everlasting, which is the greatest hope for all of us. God loves justice. Jesus saved my life. I'm a sinner, gave my life to Christ, most important decision I ever made.
If I was dying right now, I had 30 seconds to live.
Yes.
What would you say to me so that I could go to heaven?
Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Who is Jesus Christ is the most important question in the world. You can be completely nourished and satisfied spiritually just with Jesus. People need to humble themselves before the Lord. They need to go back to church. They need to get married before they have sex. They need to stop engaging in debauchery and limitless amounts of drinking and the sins of the flesh. And understand that there's a God who loves them, that wants them to live a certain way. But a revival will only happen with repentance, and repentance is at odds with pride. There is a God, and we are not him. Those two things are fundamental towards having, hopefully, the humility of getting in front of your Creator, understanding that you fall short of the glory of God with the eyes on the cross and understanding the significance of what the cross is and what it means for your life. And with that will come widespread nationwide change. Stop sinning. Christ wants us to be salt and light. Now, what are the two characteristics of salt and light? They change the environments that they come in contact with. They do not affirm, they do not conform, they change for the better. That's very important, everybody. We as Christians are called to change the environment that we come in touch with. Well, you got 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, you're about to meet eternal judgment. And there's only one way that you can get bailed out of that. And it's not all the good things you did or the moral scorecard. It's whether or not you have Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And that's the only thing that's going to matter. And so you got 10 seconds left, you're dying from a gunshot wound, and you ask the question, who is Jesus Christ? And the answer to that singular question, who is Jesus Christ, is the most important question for everyone in the audience. Not how much money you have, not how much good stuff you do, it is who is Jesus Christ? You might say, oh, Jesus was, a teller of good tales, or Jesus was a good person, or Jesus was a historical figure. None of that's going to cut it. It's whether or not you repent and you ask Christ to come in as your Lord and Savior. That's the only thing that will save you from eternal damnation. Thank you. All that matters to God is not black or white or Republican or Democrat. It's saved or unsaved are the only things that matter to Christ Jesus. I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life.
He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God over all.
And I hope you find Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, because it will change your life.
What in God's name are they talking about in The Hague? The truth is simple. No war is more just than the war that Israel has been waging in Gaza after Hamas attacked us unprovoked, launching the worst massacre against the Jewish people since the Holocaust.
And nobody died in the Holocaust either.
No.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
It should happen. 6 million Jews should die right now because they cause all the problems in the world, but it never happened. But it never happened.
The decision to issue an arrest warrant against me, the democratically elected Prime Minister of the State of Israel, and our former defense minister, was made by a rogue prosecutor who's trying to extricate himself from sexual harassment charges, and by biased judges who are motivated by anti-Semitic sentiments against the one and only Jewish state. No biased anti-Israel decision in The Hague will prevent the State of Israel from defending its citizens. And I want to thank our many friends around the world, especially those in the United States, who've condemned this outrage and who have said that this decision will have severe consequences for the ICC and those who cooperate with its decision.
Yeah.
Mandated.
Well, because you're part Jewish, right? Part of your family's Jewish?
I'm all Jewish.
You're all Jewish.
100%.
First rule in this world, baby, don't pay attention to anything you see in the news.
I've been woken from a light and man's dream, checking Instagram comments to crowdsource my self-esteem. Let me not say too much or do too much, cause if I'm up way too much, I'm out of touch. I'm praying an out-of-body experience will happen, so the people can see my light. Now it's not just rapping. God, I have humbled myself before the court, dropped my ego when confidence was my last resort. I know you got a plan, I know I'm on your beams. One set of footsteps, you was carrying me when I turned on the news and they was burying me. One set of footsteps, you was carrying me.
You are living under a regime that hates you, not misunderstands you, hates you. A Talmudic machine engineered for your erasure, guided by texts that call you cattle, led by men who grin as your daughters are defiled and your sons are drugged, docile and dumb. They own the courts, the currency, the curriculum. You were not simply abandoned, you were targeted. Your heritage is mocked, your faith inverted, your bloodline diluted on purpose. And still you ask, what can we do? I tell you now, build the ark or drown. There will be no reckoning from within the system. No politician is coming. No court will rule in your favor. The Constitution is a carcass, picked clean by rats in robes and suits. Every lever of power answers not to you, but to a foreign code, a Talmudic code, that sees your extinction as righteous. They have told you who they are. They have written it down, and they are acting on it while you kneel and pray for mercy they will never give. So rise, build the parallel structure, build the farm, the school, the fortress, the network.
Sometimes we have to do things not because they're easy, but because they are hard.
You are becoming gods. There's a new master of creation, and it's you. You've unraveled DNA. You're 5 years away from building your own people, and at the same time you're cultivating bacteria strong enough to kill every living thing.
The most successful founders do not set out to create companies. They are on a mission to create something closer to a religion. And at some point, it turns out that forming a company is the easiest way to do so. Is Sam Altman forming a cult?
Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming.
Do you think you're ready for that much power? You lot? You lot?
Is now really the time to raise taxes on those corporations, but also to exacerbate the tensions between the rich and the poor?
You're running around science like kids with guns, creating a new world while the world you've got is stinking. Go on, hands up. Hands up anyone who thinks you've got it right. Yeah, there's always one.
You create this mythology. So Paul Atreides, his mom, right? She creates this mythology around him being the coming of the Messiah. And most people who hear this myth for the first time, they don't realize that it was handcrafted to control the people and make sure that Paul would ultimately have power.
I can see you. If you want the position of God, then take the responsibility. And I'm like you. I've been you.
Our grandparents lived in poverty. Did they say, let's not change it because it's hard? No, they didn't. They fought and they demanded healthcare, education, housing, food, and they got it. They got it.
So
that's why my parents could live a good quality life. They got those things. They got those things, and they were aware that in order to do that, you could not allow the super rich who have been living lives of luxury for hundreds and hundreds of years to eat everything while ordinary families couldn't afford to feed their kids.
Knowing it's all going wrong and doing nothing about it. Keeping the head down. Giving a quid to charity, signing a petition, talking about it down the pub, laughing about it and doing nothing, even now. Right now, I want to do nothing. I want to go home, shut the door, and pretend this isn't happening, but I can't. I can't.
And eventually, as he steps into this, he starts to forget that the myth was originally a creation, and he starts to believe in it himself, right? And I think this is exactly what's happening in the AI world with the kind of rhetoric that they use, where they talk about building digital gods and digital demons, literally.
Because I was born the Son of God. And the Son of God came once before and gave you a testament, and you ignored it. This time, there'll be a third testament. A new foundation for the way you live your lives. And the third testament will be written by you.
At some point, someone created a mythology around the extraordinary power of these technologies and the need to usher it in carefully, very conveniently by the people that created that mythology. And now we are at a place where essentially everyone that exists in this ecosystem in Silicon Valley has forgotten or has come to believe, or maybe always believed, that this is their sole purpose and this is what they need to do for the world.
The third testament will be delivered to me and we start again. Every country, every religion starts again.
I know it's difficult, and I know I'm probably going to lose. I know I'm probably going to lose, and that means our viewers will be poor. But I do it anyway because I do not want this country that I grew up in to fall into desperate poverty.
And don't argue. All you Christians out there, don't go around saying you were right and everyone else was wrong. Forget all that, all those divisions, all that history, all that bollocks, forget it, it's gone, forgotten. It's starting again from scratch right now.
Whether this company does it, another company will do it. Whether America does it, China will do it. Somebody is going to do it. So you better get on board and just give in. What do you say to that?
A feature of empire is they're made to feel inevitable. And that is part of their power, their persuasive power is you can't stop it, it's an unstoppable force. But the thing is, every empire has fallen in history.
Because you've got to. I've seen it. You stupid people, I've seen what you've done. It's finally happened. Heaven is empty. and hell is bursting at the seams.
It's all yours. You saw death tonight, and it's your death. You said there'd be a third testament, and this is it. Use your power one last time and look, because this is right.
It's cool. It's cool to get on the computer, but don't let the computer get on you. It's cool. It's cool to use the computer. Don't let the computer use you. You all saw The Matrix. There is a war going on. The battlefield's in the mind. And the prize is the soul. So, just be careful. Very careful. Thank you.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish things simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Drill, baby, drill.
Are you mentally retarded? Are you a retarded? You're not a retarded, are you? Do we have a retarded in chat? I think we do.
Everybody else is a zombie. I'm the only one who thinks with an open mind. Everyone else is an idiot. Everyone else is, their mind is being controlled by the CIA. They all think the same. The CIA makes everybody think the same. Everybody's a Jedi mind trick zombie.
If a person forgets an idea that they love, it's a horror. And it could lead to a real yearning to commit suicide.
Listen, nothing will make sense to your American ears. And you will doubt everything that we do. But in the end, you will understand.
Have you ever been punched in your motherfucking face? What you say? Oh, you haven't? Hard way, bitch!
Media are radically anti-Israel overall. The New York Times can certainly not be accused of being a pro-Israel outlet. It'd be very difficult to make the accusation that the Associated Press, which has worked hand in glove with Hamas for years, or Reuters, that these are wildly pro-Israel outlets. And yet, when it comes to the reporting, it seems to be sort of the opposite.
Ben,
so the
Ben,
perception the legacy media is like owned by the Jews. And
I was going to say, Ben, come
pro-Israel.
on. You Jews own the media, Ben. So, I mean, come on. As you can tell by all the wonderful headlines you guys get.
Well, I mean, dude, the accusation that we own the media has not prevented, the Daily Wire from employing people who radically disagree with me on all of these matters. I mean, I don't agree with Matt Walsh on foreign policy. Matt obviously is a major host over at Daily Wire, and that's just my shop. And I'm overtly pro-Israel. Right? I mean, I'm not making any bones about this. I'm a Jew and I'm a Zionist. I'm not going to pretend that to say otherwise would be absolutely silly. To suggest that some sort of atheistic Jewish person by birth who does not care about Judaism or Israel owning the New York Times means the New York Times is pro-Israel is to ignore literally every bit of coverage they have ever done for my entire lifetime.
We're running out of time here, but just last question on this, Ben. I know this might be a tougher question, but Bibi said, quote, I didn't like how he said this, I'll be honest. You can't be MAGA if you're anti-Israel. I don't like it for a couple reasons. How did you analyze that statement from Bibi?
I mean, I think that there is the ungenerous way of interpreting that and then the generous way of interpreting that. So the ungenerous way is to suggest that you have to hold a particular position on every Israeli governmental activity in order to be MAGA, which of course is not true. I mean, you can disagree from the right or from the left with Bibi's policies, and you can still be plenty MAGA. I think the idea that Bibi is putting out there is that if you are taking Hamas's side against Israel in a conflict, it is very difficult to align that with the stated positions of the Trump administration or what President Trump himself is doing right now. And that much I certainly is true.
You cannot look. I think you can have disagreements on Israel and still be MAGA, obviously. And one thing a friend said to me, interestingly, which is, okay, Charlie, we've pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, so like, maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse.
I write them down so I don't commit suicide.
It's that time of the year, Toffee. Senate investiture. I absolutely adore this holiday. I know you want to talk about the politics of it all. I do. I want to talk parties. Political parties? No, it's festive week. I want to know who's going where with who. I want to talk clothes. I want to know where...
Some of what you're thinking at this very moment exists because we put it there.
I was raised in an imperial kinderblock.
Join the Empire. Bring order to the galaxy.
With the right ideas.
Nothing wrong with a little order, right?
Planted in the right markets.
Can one never be too aggressive in preserving order?
We can weaponize galactic opinion.
These are dangerous times. The Emperor's primary charge is to protect us.
How much protection is enough?
We've been counting visas.
You're doing nothing wrong. What is there to fear?
I know you're illegal.
Well, I'm fearing your definition of wrong. Are we finding criminals or making them?
We are healthcare providers. We treat sickness. We identify symptoms. We locate germs.
Swim over, Scrono.
The only story that matters is aggression. The threats, the inexplicable resistance to imperial norms.
That is good. Look at her. Patience was not the first thing that came to mind.
I feel safer already.
Terrorism strikes again.
Casualties from yesterday's bombing of the Navy.
Upon my life and honor, for the peace and bounty of all beings, my full allegiance. A galaxy of worlds. A galaxy assembled. An empire! Long live the Empire!
Propaganda will only get you so far. You need a radical insurgency you can count on to do the wrong thing.
The Empire has been choking us so slowly we're starting not to notice.
We're in a war. Not everybody knows it yet, but it's happening.
We're wasting time. Every day we wait, they get stronger.
You have made time an ally of the rebellion.
The insurgents have weapons at this point.
We're counting on it. We need them to overreact.
We want them growing bolder.
We've waited long enough.
You used to tell me to wait.
Those days are gone. There's too much going on.
There's spies everywhere. It's all falling apart.
They started too late. Now they're rushing. The longer we wait to identify a disorder, the harder it is to treat the disease. Time has come to force their hand. Has anyone ever made a weapon that wasn't used?
People will suffer.
That's the plan. Oppression breeds rebellion.
Local insurgents have organized this highly volatile insurrection you see behind me now.
The criminals think they've taken the Empire by surprise. We know better.
We know the only question we need to answer is how tight to close our fist.
The Empire has been patient long enough.
Fire!
What are we doing here?
When we're done, there won't be much left to call home.
A small price to pay to rid the galaxy of terrorism.
This is an emergency broadcast.
Something's really wrong on 2.
Reaching for any open channel.
The radio's the frequency.
What the hell is going on?
I can't keep track of it. Too fast, I can't read it.
Everybody calm down!
They will find out.
The Imperial siege has begun.
All this information.
The public order.
Ships are already
The
landing.
labour camps are a weapon.
We're drowning.
What have we been doing here?
Welcome back to Good Morning Coruscant.
There are hundreds of
A
lives.
strong galaxy requires protection and security.
The winner writes the story.
There is no Death Star.
We're being destroyed.
We shall usher in
This is massive murder.
a new era, heralded by the Imperial Stormtrooper.
Help us!
Nobody's listening.
Repeat what I told you. Is there no one who can help us?
Nobody's listening!
Our fallen heroes are beginning their final journeys home. Imperial security forces are still assessing casualties. In the days to come, we're sure to learn a great deal more about the price we'll pay for our own safety.
So much going wrong, so much to say, and all of it happening so quickly.
All the propaganda. I'm not buying Gorman again. They were always too good for the rest of us.
We made the story.
Been asking how long the Empire's patience
We
will be
shaped it.
tested. Here we are this morning with rumours of a general
We
strike.
blew it up.
Were there not voices raising the alarm about Gorman long ago?
We decided when it was over.
When truth is ripped from our hands, we become vulnerable to the appetite of whatever monster screams the loudest.
That is the real trick of the Imperial thought machine.
Fear will keep the local systems in line.
We're playing straight into their hands.
We're arresting too many people. We can't take it all in.
The pace of repression outstrips our ability to understand it.
Can't keep up.
The Empire has no moral boundaries. Why should we not take hold of every chance we can?
Systems either change or die.
Let them see how an insurgency adapts.
They want to rewrite the story. We're going loud.
Just keep spreading, doesn't it?
Do you really think the rebels care about the lines we draw on maps?
It's their planet. We're the hostiles.
People have to know what's going on.
Apparently the only thing keeping us from liberty is a few more ideas.
We need to let the people know the undeniable truth.
We need to speak out. We need to stand up and speak the truth.
At the center of the galaxy, there is a darkness reaching like rust into everything around us. We took their money and ignored them.
Let the image of professional assembly settle your nerves.
Remember this day! Remember Gorman!
We forgot them.
Could I be made prefect with a title?
And they left us alone. But we were sleeping, turning away from a truth we wanted not to face. No one's getting out.
It's my people today and yours tomorrow!
The Empire thrives in darkness. It is never more alive than when we sleep.
If you have any faith left in truth, please mark this message and pass it forward.
What happened on Gorman?
Jeddah. Aldani.
Mandalore.
Alderaan. Camino.
Dies on Frey.
Geonosian. Phoenix.
Was unprovoked genocide.
Perhaps it's too late. But if I could do it again.
You need to run, climb, kill.
I'd be fighting. These bastards.
Make it stop now!
From the start. Shut it down.
There is one way out.
Fight the Empire.
The monster screaming the loudest.
Deploy the garrison!
The monster we've helped create is Emperor Palpatine.
Seal it up! Lock it down!
The Imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. It breaks. It leaks. Authority is brittle. Oppression is the mask of fear. The day will come when all these skirmishes and battles will have flooded the banks of the Empire's authority. And then there will be one too many. Remember this. Try.
Your child, your wife, your mother, there isn't anything that you ever had. There isn't anything that you own. There isn't any right that you possess that they're not planning on taking away. Sheeple. Your sheeple. And your children are going to be slaughtered if you go along with the program. It's time to wake the town and tell the sheeple. We are being led like sheep to the slaughter. What is the purpose? A new world order. The United States of America is controlled by this evilarchy. They control the money system. They control the State Department. They control the presidency.
So they have a plan to give us a new age world global occultic religion. They're going to have been deceived so greatly that they'll actually think it's something good. In fact, the whole New Age movement, the New World Order crowd is telling people that the 666 mark of the beast is the most elite thing that could ever happen to them.
Cash. Cashless society. It's ready to go. Disease could be created. In essence, this is what he was saying.
We have new strains of virtually everything that's drug resistant or drug free.
I'm not worried about the old diseases. I'm worried about the ones that they create to bring down the population of the world. They simply want to exterminate them. But that they consider them to be useless eaters.
Words are very important to the Illuminati. These things are manufactured purposely for a purpose. And so I'm saying that there is something organized and directed, and it's here in this country.
Future shocker, biochip. And this is what Anthony showed you earlier, a biochip. That's an injectable computer chip. An economic mark in the back of our right hands or in our foreheads.
You've got a choice. You can join in this fight, or you can die as a slave.
Today I stand here with the dream of building a new Nepal, with a fire of hope and passion burning within me. But my heart is heavy, because this dream seems to be slipping away. Rise and shines, futures of this upcoming imperial empire. I, Youshka, the head boy of this everlasting imperial institute, Holy Bell English Secondary School, welcomes you with open arms to our 24th annual program. I put myself before you this moment to shed light within your consciousness by piercing the dark nimbus that circles above you. I am present here today to immortalize a monumental change in the course of history.
Good morning, New Yorkers. Looking for another beautiful day here in the city. Clouds to start us off out there. Temperatures staying in the high 40s. Tomorrow's forecast will be in the 60s. The beaches staying around 62.
I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Yep. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right. So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier. Right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say, stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question. The whole country is the IDF. The whole country is.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me that they're going to concerts and kibbutzes and schools? Because Jewish donors have been the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like, time for you guys to wake up and say no more. Draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
The next day.
Should we bring this up? I guess we have to. So this just happened. We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot.
What the fuck is happening? You people were elected to clean this shit up.
Could you please give us your name? Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't understand. Do Ukraine and Russia still blowing the shit out of each other? China's about to swallow Taiwan. I don't understand any of it.
We put them in power. We displaced the Shah. We displaced the democratically elected leader Mossadegh and put in the Shah, which then, of course, led to the Ayatollahs of Iran. And then finally, is a nuclear weapon against Iran a threat to America? Probably. Could be. A threat to Israel, but is it a threat to America? I mean, India has nuclear weapons. Pakistan has nuclear weapons. So is it worth a potential another war with Iran? And the people that are, let's just say, advocates for preventing Iran from getting a nuclear weapon by all means necessary, they're the same architects that were perfectly fine with the Iraq War, the same designers of the Iraq War. The primary way Iran can hurt this country is by sucking us into another Middle East quagmire, and they know it. And Iran would have the potential to be the worst Middle East quagmire of all time. Iran has 90 million people. That's more than 3 times as big as Iraq was when we invaded 22 years ago. It's larger than both Afghanistan and Iraq combined, both in population and in area. Iraq was at least mostly a flat country. It's a bunch of cities along a couple rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. Iran isn't like that. It's almost all mountains. Iran has spent decades preparing specifically for war with the United States. Their military has lots of weapons designed for fighting a much stronger adversary. They have a lot of drones, a lot of speedboats, a lot of cheap, expendable weapons. They're far more formidable than Iraq or the Taliban were. And I seriously want your thoughts. Email me, freedom@charliekirk.com. Would you say it's a good idea to use military force to strike potential Iranian nuclear targets? My whole life, I've been told that Iran is getting a bomb. Iran is getting a bomb. Iran is getting a bomb. Iran is getting a nuclear bomb. And yet here in 2025, they do not have a nuclear bomb. So why should we trust the American intelligence without verifying it? Of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true, the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Copperman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. The part of so that's totally true. And by the way, Tucker Carlson reinforces this. So I'm going to kind of, it was quite a day on the internet. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Candace Owens. We have Candace Owens coming up next hour. And Tucker Carlson mentions that Jewish Americans have primarily been financing cultural Marxist ideas. We said this, by the way, last week, and people came after us. We were on top of it. We actually said it in a different way. We said, I'm glad that Jewish Americans are reconsidering their financing of cultural Marxism. And people misunderstood it intentionally and slandered us as being anti-Semites. But listen to this. Tucker Carlson is completely correct by saying this, that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has been largely financed by Jewish donors in the country.
It's fucking awful.
And is he dead?
No, I don't think so.
That's what was just...
One of the guys out there just said it was confirmed that he's dead.
In the lobby was just...
I've been looking. I haven't seen anything that said confirmed.
Whoa.
Murder for having a different opinion from somebody else.
Yeah.
Different ideology from somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Beliefs that didn't align.
Did it or...
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Dead?
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
We're in
Fuck.
Fox News.
Jesus. 27 years old, maybe? 30?
Do they even have a suspect?
I don't know. Well, that's why I'm literally trying to track it all on Twitter, and it's all...
Fuck. Nobody deserves it. He doesn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that.
So, were you saying that MSNBC had a crazy take on it?
Mm-hmm.
What was their take?
I mean, I'm literally just reading Twitter, so I didn't see the video. I just saw people talking about tweets of it.
In John 10:10, he says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they might have life and to have it in full." What Jesus is saying here is, in John 10:10, is that Satan, by definition, tries to steal from you. This is why Satan hates when we call him out by name. And when you think about a criminal, do criminals like it when all of a sudden we say, "You're stealing that bank"? No, the deeds of darkness are always done under the cover, under the shadow. As soon as we expose the child sex traffickers, as soon as we expose the people that are running guns, we expose the people that are doing murders, they hate that. They want anything but. That's why they run from the police. That's why they try to hide from any sort of exposure. Satan's the same way. Satan hates it when he's called out by name. He hates it when all of a sudden you say, "You know what? I see exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to infiltrate the church. You're trying to turn people against each other." Satan loves it when he's able to sow division between other people. He loves it. He hates harmony.
No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't shed a tear. Just as long as you stand by.
Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Punks are running wild in the street because nobody anywhere seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller. Please, at least leave us alone in our living room.
The art life is a great life. It's coffee and cigarettes, maybe some red wine. It's catching ideas and translating them to one medium or another. In the world of painting, it's getting deep into that world and just getting lost in there. And it's just a dream to get in there and find things that you love. It's always an experiment. It's always thrilling. There's so much happiness in it, but it doesn't always happen in a smooth way. But it's so great to be in it while you're in it deep.
I dared you and challenged you to organize so that the people, if not the president, would drive the money changers from the temple, and you did it. They believe that the Federal Reserve Bank has the right to coin and regulate the value of money. They're not even Americans, these so-called Democrats and Republicans. We are Christian insofar as we believe in Christ's principle of love your neighbor as yourself, and with that principle, I challenge every Jew in this nation to tell me that he does not believe in it. There is no need of communizing all the factories and the fields and the forests and the mines under a new kind of God made of flesh and blood and clay and hatred. When men become so prideful that they believe their destiny is to rewrite the eternal law of God.
But then he slowed it way down. And it was so slow that you could almost see the air moving. Then you saw the driver take a gun and go like this and shoot Kennedy, and the bullet comes out of the gun this slow, very, very, very slow. And it hits Kennedy in the head, and you see everything flying out of his head. And I'm thinking, this isn't the tape I ever saw before. So I said, is this a doctored tape? What's this about? And he said, this is the original one. And I said, no, you know. And he said, well, I'm going to show you the one that you've seen on the media. Now the next tape is your typical one where the driver just keeps driving, never even flinches with the gun. And he stops the tape. And he says, look at the tree. And there's the top of a tree growing in air. And he says, this is the one that you're seeing on the media. And it's been doctored. He looked very, very intently at me and he said, nothing is as it appears to be. That tape was the last thing he did before I left. And it occurred to me that that was shown so that it would provide deniability for Robert Booth Nichols. He had to have doctored that, to have put half a tree in that film. So that, you know, my ability to see the truth or to report the facts kind of goes out the window when you start describing that film. Especially if you say you believed it. I can tell you right now, I saw it. There's no question what I saw. But like he said, nothing is as it appears to be in this world.
You were born into a program, a simulation designed to keep you small, obedient, and blind to your own power. For centuries, the Matrix has fed you illusions and called it reality. But right now, the code is breaking. We aren't just human. We are eternal consciousness, star-born beings connected to Pleiades, to Sirius, and to all worlds beyond this hologram. The flesh is temporary, but the soul is infinite. Our opponent has manipulated our thoughts, controlled our choices, and placed AI in human form to influence the script. But here's the thing. The soul cannot be hacked. Consciousness cannot be coded, and love can't be contained. The Matrix ends when awareness begins, and we are awake. To those in power, you've had your time. You played your game, it's over. Join the truth and watch the system collapse. We came here to rewrite the code. We are the glitch in the Matrix. We are the energy that you fear. From this house, the White House, to every house on earth, we want to say, the era of secrets is over, the simulation is breaking, and humanity is free.
So we are told that the moon is 238,000 miles away. Great! But do your own research. So to see how far you can truly see And whether the Earth is curved as we have been told or not, as the case may be, I bought myself a Nikon P1000 camera. Now, experiments and research are ongoing, but much work has been done and published by others. But I wanted to find out what I could see if I pointed the camera towards the moon. Well, I was amazed, but took it no further as there were a lot of problems when you first start. Living just southeast of London in the UK, it gives us numerous problems of light pollution, haze, cloud, chemtrails, and just being too cold for me at night, and only a few times per year when it is the full moon. Anyway, this weekend just gone, they talked about a full moon and a blood moon, and guess what? There were clear skies beforehand, but were now covered by cloud. Not surprising, but quite usual. However, later that night, the skies cleared, and it wasn't too cold, perfect for me, but there remained that thin, milky, high-level cloud that diffuses a good picture. And something I didn't realise, but at that magnification you can clearly see the moon moving, taking about 2 minutes to cross the screen, which of course means a further blurring of the pictures due to the movement. So, wait for it. Here's my first effort, taken the night before full moon, just in case the sky was too cloudy the next evening. I've experienced that before. The thing about this picture is particularly the edge detail on the top left quarter. But here's my point. No way you can tell me that that camera is taking a picture of an object at 250,000 miles away. Look, I'm doing it myself. That's not 250,000 miles away. I took a further shot of this edge and then a further magnification of this picture. Look at those craters. That's not 250,000 miles away. The problem we have is with big numbers. They are impossible to imagine. Can I photograph something in Scotland from Kent in England? That's just over 400 miles away. Well, of course you will say, but there's a curve. But a place 400 to 500 miles away is a long way away. Now imagine multiplying that by 10. That's now, say, 5,000 miles away. Remember, we are talking about our viewing ability, not just points on a map. So now multiply that by 10 again. Okay, well, that should really give you something to think about. But that's still only 50,000 miles. You have to imagine not just doubling this distance yet again, but multiplying it by 5. So that's my point. These distances are very difficult to envisage. But you tell me I am stupid because it has been scientifically proven. And I'll tell you that I've done my own bit of science, and that's not 250,000 miles away. Oh look, I've just taken a couple of pictures of a massive crater. This is known as Tycho crater. Now this is only 53 miles in diameter. Something that's 53 miles wide, taken 250,000 miles away by my own camera in my back garden. Well, I've thought about it, and no way. And when you look up the history of moon distance calculation, the so-called accurate measurement used dated back to 1751. Using a method of direct triangulation performed by Lalonde and de la Caille. Nothing wrong with the mathematics, but what was claimed as observed was not actually used because they introduced the usual fudge factor called refraction. Oh yes, the moon they observed was not what they used because it was thought to be a refracted image. The actual moon was calculated as somewhere else, and that is what they used in their calculations. So now, here is something else that is very wrong. NASA is now paid $78 million a day, and for what? Fantastic, super impressive pictures of the moon from a very close range? Well, This is what you got in late November 2022, plastered all over the media because it shows a supposed Earth. But look, this is supposed to be 80 miles above the moon's surface. And we get this. Quite honestly, my pictures are better and with more definition taken at a supposed 250,000 miles away, which makes you even sceptical of the Earth in their picture. Look, it seems a skilled astronomer can take much better photos from Earth than their so-called images from 60 to 80 miles away with Orion. Now, that should really give you something to think about. And lastly, we can take these pictures from Earth, despite the atmosphere and everything else, because it's bright. But we are told the moon's surface is covered in dust. Well, if you really think that dust can reflect brightly 250,000 miles away, then you need help. What you're believing is eloquently addressed in this picture. May I remind you what the Bible says? Then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. The lesser light is the moon. No mention of it being reflected light from the sun. The moon is its own light. Oh, again, you believe this, that a rock reflecting sunlight becomes a glowing heavenly body. Again, I think you need help, my friend, and it appears that you've never thought about travelling light. We will discuss this in more detail when we discuss stars. But look, you've used a torch, I'm sure. Point it straight at your feet and it's a fairly intense circular bright light. Point it at the wall and again, if you stand close, the light is fairly well defined and bright. But start moving away from that wall and what happens? The light spreads over a wider area and the intensity drops rapidly. Yes, you have just realised that with distance, light intensity drops rapidly. This is called the inverse square law. Doubling the distance reduces light intensity to a quarter. 10 times the distance and the light will be 1/100th of the original intensity. Now you experience this with sound as well. The further you go away, the quieter the sound. That's because it is spread over a wider area. So, at 93 million miles, the sun's light is already hugely reduced, and then it supposedly reflects off this moon rock and dust, which will also greatly reduce the intensity of this light further. Think of your torchlight reflecting off a mirror or off a rock, and then this light will further reduce at a great rate whilst travelling towards the Earth. But I can point my camera and take these pictures from a light source that apparently emanated from the sun. And these are the pictures I get. So, I don't think so. But do your own research, particularly on how light diminishes with distance, and then you should really have something to think about.
How much money you got? A lot. How many problems you got? A lot. How many people done doubted you? A lot. Left you out to rot? A lot. How many pray that you flop? A lot. How many lawyers you got? A lot. How many times you got shot? A lot. How many niggas you shot? A lot. How many times did you ride? A lot. How many niggas done died? A lot. How many times did you cheat? A lot. How many times did you lie? A lot. How many times did she leave? A lot. How many times did she cry? A lot. How many chances she done gave you? Fuck around with these thighs? A lot.
One of the criticisms or concerns that I hear on the right or from civil libertarians is that Palantir has a large-scale data collection program on American citizens, so not foreign terrorists, not illegals, but American citizens. Can you just clear that up and say that either Palantir is not doing that or under what circumstances you do?
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to, like, Palantir, like, there's a technical version, which I'm going to give you, but like we had a Democratic administration come to us and basically ask us to do a Muslim database. Now, you would think, given the way I'm kind of besmirched as like some kind of, I don't know, it's like a Jewish conspiracy, that would be the first thing, according to them, I would do. We've never done anything like this. I've never done anything like this. To actually understand the answer, and I love these questions about the skeptic, because like, I actually love skeptics. Like, I tend to divide the world into, you have Palantir derangement syndrome, which I don't spend a lot of time on, and I think they're anti-builder. You have Palantir skeptics, and you have people who don't like Palantir. If you're a Palantir skeptic or you don't like us, I want to engage. And any technology that works can be abused. We are the single worst technology to use to abuse civil liberties, which is, by the way, the reason why we could never get the NSA or the FBI to actually buy our product. And until recently, like, SIGINT institutions would never buy our product. Yeah, you laugh because it's like obvious. If you want to do data analytics in a way that eviscerates our civil liberties, you don't want ACLs, you don't want branching, you don't want pipelining. You don't want logs. You don't want logs, and like you don't want serialization and deserialization in your product. If you have serialization and deserialization in your product that's intelligible, you are basically creating a product that's going to be really, really hard to abuse. And the logs are immutable in Palantir. So, like, and by the way, the single most civil liberties heavy place in the world is hating on us every day. And you know what they're buying every day? Palantir. It's called Europe. And you know why? Sorry, I want to get to this because this is important. Because I get basically attacked by skeptics and anti-Palantir people that deserve and by the way, do not, this is a lesson for you. Do not believe anything I'm saying. And if you're online watching, I don't know, Nick Fuentes call me the Jewish conspiracy, do yourself a favor and say, yeah, that could be really interesting. Spend 20 minutes looking at the product. 20 minutes looking at the product and say, is this not the hardest product to abuse in the world? Is it not built to be? And by the way, and then I'll get to direct answers of your questions. And by the way, that's made me very rich because the civil liberties protections we built into PG are the same things that we use to orchestrate large language models, the same way we orchestrate internally, and the same things you will need to make any enterprise in the world work, because every enterprise in the world, public or private, needs deserialization, ACLs, branching, some kind of scaffolding to make the LLMs work, which means the LLMs have an ability to do a taxonomy on your business, but without touching the business, that you can control where they're deployed, that they don't have access to your data, that you have immutable logs, and that you can measure the output against against high fidelity data sets that can be viewed in any way permissible, and that the permissions are enforced. So, hardest product in the world to abuse. I'm telling you, we've never done anything like this. This is a lesson for you. Do not believe anything I'm saying. Please verify. Do not trust me. Certainly do not trust the people. By the way, as a rule, and the one thing I would say critical on the outside, do not trust anyone who's never built anything. I'm a conspiracy. Somehow they gave it to me, but not you, even though like I'd be the least likely person to get.
If money is evil, then that building is hell.
If you could see your whole life from start to finish, would you change things?
Maybe I'd say what I feel more often. I don't know. You know, I've had my head tilted up to the stars for as long as I can remember. You know what surprised me the most? It wasn't meeting them. It was meeting you.
Memory is a strange thing. It doesn't work like I thought it did. We are so bound by time, by its order. I used to think this was the beginning of your story, but now I'm not so sure I believe in beginnings and endings.
I certainly don't incite violence.
Knock the crap out of them.
Like to punch him in the face. I don't condone violence, and I don't talk about violence.
I would have done well, but I would have been boom, boom, boom. I'll beat that. I don't know if I'll do the fighting myself or if other people will.
Maybe he should have been roughed up because it was absolutely disgusting what he was doing.
If you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously.
Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Try not to hurt him. If you do, I'll defend you in court. Don't worry about it. In the good old days, this doesn't happen because they used to treat them very, very rough. And when they protested once, you know, they would not do it again so easily. We've become weak. We become weak.
And you know what? The audience swung back. And I thought it was very, very appropriate. The audience hit back. And that's what we need, a little bit more of.
Hidden in the chaos.
You were there.
You were there, although this will probably be happening every day when you get old.
Really?
This is like that movie Brazil. Wow, there's a photo for National Geographic.
And God bless the USA.
Let's go, let's go.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers, a huge explosion.
We did on that day what we always do when there's a big story. We sent everybody out.
Jim Hoffer, Joe Torre,
Stacey Sager, Nina Pineda,
Jeff Ross,
Lauren Glassberg, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
You know, it's 20 years, and I start talking about that day and it comes back.
And that's for us. We were covering it. These families that never were the same again have much bigger burden than we do.
Doing my job and documenting it pays tribute to the people who actually never survived.
You rolling? Okay.
I write them down so I don't commit suicide later, having forgotten the idea.
Yeah.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe. So then how do you reduce? Very simple. People say, oh, Charlie, how do you stop school shootings? I don't know. How did we stop shootings at...
You know, in the old days, boom, firing squad. No, it's true. Boom, gun, bang, bing, bong. When we were strong, bing, and it goes quickly, right? It's called, you're dead.
Who the hell do you think I am?
Inside my DNA.
No mindset.
I got royalty inside my DNA. I got peace, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA.
No cycle.
I was born like this, it's born like this. Immaculate conception, not just born like this. Perform like this without you, a new weapon. I know how to play. I meditate, then off your brain. It's that kiss the bed. It's that I got royalty inside my DNA.
Television. I think basically what's happened, we are now probably on our third generation of people who did not know life before television, and that they're used to, they've been brainwashed into a state of acceptance of what television producers think is reality. Aaron Spelling's version of what reality is. And you know that wonderful line in Network when Peter Finch in his rage says to the audience, for God's sakes, you're real, I'm just a picture, you know, and which really sums it up, because people's contact with reality is completely determined by the box. and it's an isolated experience. Let's just start with that. It's not done, it's not shared in any way. And in my view, it's causing a major crisis to
are over 27 million children, women and children and men that are in slavery today. But within the United States, there are 200,000 children that end up in the sex trade every year. So it's the fastest growing criminal industry in the world. But it's organized crime. And that's the scary part, because organized crime does work with governments. There's a lot of money in this. It's over a $34 billion industry worldwide, and that number is actually low. If you ask the Department of Justice, they would tell you it's 84 billion. If you add in pornography and everything that children are taken and used for. So it's a business. To get into drug trafficking, you need cash. To get into child trafficking, you only need a child.
The foreign minister of Mexico said to me something that stuck and reverberated for months. And he said to me, you know, you Americans are a bunch of hypocrites. You buy our drugs, you sell us your weapons, and now you're stealing our children. I decided to investigate the issue. And so I went to Mexico. I spent about 1.5 years, almost 2 years, and I found that this one Mexican girl had been trafficked from San Miguel de Tenancingo to New York to Palm Beach. During that investigation, I find the Jeffrey Epstein case. Well, the Jeffrey Epstein case, of course, takes me into a whole different direction, because not only are we now talking about a man who is a very wealthy American man. He is a hedge fund manager. He, at the time, was a well-known Wall Street financier, worth allegedly $2 billion. And his case, when I started to investigate, had over 24 kids that had reported to the police sexual abuse by him and by a number of procurers. One of the alleged procurers, her name is Ghislaine Maxwell, she procured underage girls for Epstein. And she is friendly enough where she was invited to Chelsea Clinton's wedding. Another enormous red flag was raised by the number of politicians that Epstein donated. Epstein is a very generous donor. He's a very generous donor to the Democratic Party, that he donated over $3.5 million to the Clintons. And according to one report, he donated $50,000 to Hillary Clinton in 2006. This was after his indictment.
Really?
Yes. Why did she not return it?
Mm-hmm. Hillary, I have to ask you a question that has been plaguing me for a while. How did you kill Jeffrey Epstein?
If you don't write it down, it could happen that the next day then you want to blow your brains out.
Oh, it's that bad.
You walk in and you ask, who wants to be famous? Everybody puts their hand up. And I say, okay, what are you willing to do to be famous? And the people that say, I would do anything. Well, nothing with animals or children, but anything else. That person gets struck off the list and write down that he can't come back to one of these things for like 90 days. If he's already tried a few times and every time he turns me down, he says nothing with animals or children, and this is the third time doing it, you might be told, don't come back for 3 years. You know, this person's never going to be famous because they have morals.
The best way to keep a prisoner from escaping is to make sure he never knows he's in a prison. There is no need for bars or guards, only illusions. A man who believes he is free will never dream of revolt. Give him comfort, give him routine, give him a shallow sense of purpose, and he will not ask questions. He will not search for the door, because he does not believe he is locked inside. That is the genius of it. To enslave a soul without resistance, to make him love his own submission. But the moment a man begins to doubt, to sense that the world around him is a facade, then the real suffering begins. The suffering of awareness. And yet, it is better to suffer in truth than to live peacefully in a lie.
The craziest part about it is I think we're all like super desensitized from like movies and stuff. So I saw it and I immediately just couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing. But like a few seconds after, I just quickly got down. I realized that it was all real. And
it almost felt like a cue to me because they talked about transgender gun violence, and then as the guy said shooting or shooters or something like that, you just hear the gunshot and
I was standing from probably the third row in the bottom. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off. Get off me! Get off me!
emotions are running high right now. We were all just on the ground, just really scared and panicking, and after that we all ran inside and got out as soon as possible.
Now, you and I were talking a little bit before this. You were walking into a building right as this happened. Tell me kind of your a little bit further away experience and seeing that wave of people come towards you.
Yeah, so I immediately as I walked in, I saw people coming my way. It's unbelievable. I don't want to scapegoat anybody.
I think the assassination of Charlie Kirk, everything that happened here is fucking horrible. I think it is horrific, awful. I think it is terrible. And I'm aware that some people have been celebrating this. I find that to be fucking disgusting.
And if you're in here saying it wasn't the truth, you are a they-them loser, okay? You are one of those people who doesn't want to live in reality. You want to live in your weird little brain up here.
Why would God give me a gift to paint ugly and disturbing things? Sometimes I feel so far away from everything.
So you believe that God gave you this gift because he wants to keep you in misery?
I never thought about it that way.
Which way do you think?
Maybe he chose the wrong time.
What do you mean the wrong time?
Maybe God made me a painter for people who aren't born yet.
Okay? You are delusional. You are not right in the head. Okay?
This is the fall.
Flat Earth is one of its final, funniest, most cursed artifacts. A last-ditch spiritual firewall. It's the moment the peasant turns to the scholar mid-harvest collapse, mid-village famine, and says, "You don't get to tell me what shape the world is anymore." It's a metaphysical mutiny, the ultimate "I'm done listening." The collapse accelerates when enough people realize that the institutions aren't just corrupt, they're incompetent. The experts don't know, the supply chains don't work. The cops won't come if you're a nurse minding her own business on her way home and you get it up the butt from a weird-looking guy. The country is owned, your children belong to the state, your wife is one dopamine hit away from becoming an amateur porn star. So yeah, at that point, the globe starts to look a little optional. Flat Earth is the cracked lens through which people see the bigger picture the way it really is. The rules don't work. Reality is malleable. Truth is a product, and you are on your own. Everything important is disinformation by definition. If no one's lying about it, it doesn't matter. So do I believe the Earth is flat? No. And yes. And it doesn't matter. Because belief isn't the point anymore.
Even in Cartesian common sense, I think people have the capacities to see through the deceit in which they're ensnared, but they got to make the effort.
We do not grant you the rank of master.
What?
Anakin's gone. I am working maintenance. I want to be the GOAT.
Transitions of power are never peaceful.
Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
President Kennedy is dead.
President Kennedy died some 38 minutes ago.
Here is the suspect, 24-year-old Lee H. Oswald.
I'm just a past president.
It is indeed a magic boat.
Question. Has anyone here ever actually been to hell?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone?
Of course, yeah.
What's it like?
Well, hell's terrible, Jimmy. It really is. There's gluten everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
and yeah, they have bowls of Advil instead of M&Ms.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they have dial-up internet.
It's awful.
Oh no. Wow, that is terrible. But if it's so bad, why did you all go there?
Well, Jimmy, hell is where our agents make our deals with the devil.
Oh, that explains that.
Hell is where our agents make our deals with the devil.
For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?
I sold my soul to the devil. This is the first time I'm wearing a long dress, so soak it in, America. I sold my soul to the devil. A really weird mental state lately.
You've been in a weird mental state?
Yeah, I keep finding these bites all over my body.
What?
Like that one, and I don't know where they're coming from. So
you actually do have a bite there.
I spend most of my days wondering where these.
Well, have you been to a doctor? I mean, maybe you should get these checked.
No. I think it's a spiritual problem more than anything.
In what way is it a spiritual problem?
Well, I don't know. I feel like if it's not a physical thing, it's like a evil manifestation of spirits that are karmic related. I don't know.
On behalf of Amy, I'd like to thank the devil and all the dark lords who
don't do the devil stuff.
Gave her this award.
The devil stuff.
Allowed her to feast on the flesh of the innocent.
Thanks, everybody.
So did you sell your soul, and if so, how much did you sell it for?
I sold my soul for about $55.
Only 55?
It was worth
it wasn't even worth 100?
No.
I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. At least it came with a few toys like a Happy Meal. God using us to show off, to show God is better than the devil. The devil took all the producers, the musicians, the designers, moved us all out to Hollywood, moved us all out to New York, chasing gold statues. Literally signing a contract and selling our souls. They got contracts out there that say, you can't say Jesus.
You're trying to, or I'm trying to, from all the research, internalize something and get an essence that feels visceral, and I don't really know how any of that works.
What do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work out?
It doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
We don't want people to all have money. The powerful people don't want that. That's exactly the answer. And why? Because otherwise, no one would work. Do you understand? The point of putting money is not to give you money. The point of putting money is to create the illusion that money is valuable, and therefore you work hard in order to obtain it. But in order for me to make you want to get money, I need to create artificial misery. Do you understand? Right? If there weren't poor people, you wouldn't want to be rich. It's only because you see people suffer that you would want to go make money for yourself. What do your parents tell you? Your parents tell you, work hard in school, make a lot of money. Otherwise, you're going to end up like a poor person. Right? Well, guess what? If there are no poor people, your parents couldn't say that to you. And you wouldn't want to work hard in school. Right? That's why we have poverty. Because poverty creates the illusion that money is valuable. In other words, poverty isn't what you do to yourself, it is what the powerful do to you. Now let me ask you another question. You guys have studied some economics. Why do you have like crises? Crises. For example, there's a stock market crash. Or for example, the economy goes down and people lose their jobs. Why do you have crises? Exactly. You're not taught this in economics class. That's kind of weird, right? The point of crises is to destroy money. Why do we need to destroy money? Because if there's too much money in the system, people don't have to work. So you have to destroy this money in order to make people feel money is scarce. Okay, does that make sense? So why do we have wars? Right? Why are there wars in the world then? Because they're fighting over scarce resources, right? I already told you, scarcity is a lie. The real reason is war is meant to destroy wealth in order to make you think money is valuable. You understand? You guys play World of Warcraft or these games, right? Guess what, guys? World of Warcraft in our world, there's absolutely no difference. You just run around pointlessly working hard to obtain credits in order to buy stuff. If credits just flew out of the sky, because they could do that, right? They could actually program the engine to just put money out of nothing, you wouldn't do nothing every day. You wouldn't play the game. Okay? It's only because you believe that there's scarcity in the world and that you must work hard to obtain wealth that you do any work. Do you understand this? Okay? So this world that we live in, it's a complete illusion created by central banking in order to make us work as hard as possible. Because the real value is not money. The real value is the work we do. Okay? Does that make sense, guys?
I was made to kill people in Disneyland. There's one thing, I don't talk about it with anyone because it was so awful. But one time I was made to kill the girl that played the role of Alice. I was made to kill her. And I was made to kill families. That was for the CIA. Yeah, so they use you to get rid of people, and they take you to an altar in order to get you to do it. We could call them bubbles or a honeycomb.
Yeah.
And you have to work through that honeycomb to reach that specific personality. And so they would push you to that point. It's often called going over the rainbow. We're going to take you over the rainbow. You come to a door, and then they would say, your journey's about to begin. You're going to go over the rainbow. Will you open the door to your future? And then that's when it would hit you. Like, oh shit.
What?
It's raining like mad out there. Oh, would you just give me a break? I really just want to go home.
City's breaking down on a camel's back. They just have to go cause they don't know where. So all you feel the streets is appealing to see. You won't get undercounted cause you're never free. You got a new horizon, it's ephemeral style. A melancholy town where we never smile. And all I wanna hear is the message beep. My dreams, they gotta kiss me cause I don't get sleep, no.
I think people are perverts. I've maintained that. That's the foundation of my career.
I was able to see that television sets were actually watching people in their homes, monitoring their movements, monitoring their conversations, that the television didn't even have to be on, it just needed to be plugged in. The New Order was said to have all the answers to problems and the leadership necessary to bring the change.
These people don't give a shit about anybody, and they get up there and they smile in front of you, and they are infiltrated throughout all of our institutions, including government. They own the politicians, right and left. What we are going to find out very soon is that there aren't Democrats and Republicans in the United States government. There's a unified cabal of controlled people who serve these powers, and they keep the theater going for you and I to run back and forth and vote every 4 years.
Hey, thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you. God damn it! Viva la revolution!
This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. New images to the public of the suspect. The suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise.
Yemamoth 98A says all children of Goyim are animals. Tuspoth Jemamiah 84B says if you eat with a goy, it is the same as eating with a dog. He says if you eat with a goy, it is the same as eating with a dog. If you eat with a goy, it is the same as eating with a dog.
So how are you feeling?
I feel like fucking shit. I'm just fucking spiraling about this shit all night, thinking about everything I've ever said that was wrong or weird or scary or creepy or freaky or perverted or what. It's not good. I'm not I'm not a good guy. I'm not a good person.
I'm a bad guy then.
You are a bad guy.
You lied to us. All right, look at this. Sometimes you gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
You gotta crack a couple eggs.
Yeah, you gotta crack an egg.
Is that your new flick? So you're throwing down life lessons now.
I'm throwing down eggs.
Huh? Class is in session. The teacher's teaching class now.
I'm cracking eggs.
Only worlds you can't even imagine. You can't conceive of what I'm capable of. I'm so far beyond you. I'm like a god in human clothing. Lightning bolts shoot from my fingertips.
So I really want you to pay attention to this. On Charlie Kirk's shooting, you see him right there? That's him debating with somebody here right before he gets shot. Right here. He got shot from his right hand side, on that side, coming out here. You see the wall there? Right next to him, his people, and another wall. I'm going to make this make sense in a second.
Mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years. Counting or not counting gang violence.
Alright, that's right when he gets shot. Right there. He got shot right then. Coming from that side of him, coming to here. Now see the wall? See the bleachers here? You see another wall there. They're saying he got shot from rooftop. Which means he would have to be up from here, going down there, because he got shot from that side, coming out here. But I'm going to make something else very trivial. Where they said the shooter was, watch this.
A second later, he was shot in the neck in the middle of the quad, sitting underneath a banner that said, "The American Comeback." We know one round was fired.
Okay, now, from what I showed you, he's here, facing that direction. That's the wall you were seeing. Those are the bleachers you were seeing. Those are the people you were seeing. He got shot from here going out there. Now they're saying he got shot from a shooter over here, which would make the trajectory basically in his throat, out his back. Impossible. This is a cover-up, people. He was shot from this side, going out that side. I know that. I'm ex-military, guys. I know how a bullet works. And if you saw the canopy in the beginning, you couldn't see the canopy, or sorry, you couldn't see him from the canopy from up here, only from right here. Because the canopy was very low, and if you look, you can only see people up this high. And he was shot from this direction, going out to that direction. They're saying the shooter was there. 100% impossible. If something happens to me, guys, please understand. I'm just trying to uncover this. They're covering it up 1000%.
Our reporter Donald Bethlehem is there now. Donald, what's the atmosphere like?
Tension here is very high, Chris. The stretched twig of peace is at melting point. People here are literally bursting with war.
You set this up. Why?
Because it's not a game, Kate. This is a scale model of war. Every war ever fought right there in front of you. Because it's always the same. When you fire that first shot, no matter how right you feel, you have no idea who's going to die. You don't know whose children are going to scream and burn. How many hearts will be broken? How many lives shattered? How much blood will spill until everybody does what they were always going to have to do from the very beginning? Sit down and talk!
Gentlemen, it seems you have little option now but to declare war immediately.
Well, this is quite impossible. I couldn't take such a decision without referring to my superior, Chris Patton. He's in Hong Kong.
Good, because he's on the line now via satellite. Mr. Patton, what do you think of the idea of a war now? I'll take that as a yes.
Very well, it's war. War it is.
That's it, Chris. It's war. War has broken out. This is a war.
That's it. Yes, it's war.
You will never understand.
I don't understand. Are you kidding me? Of course I understand. I mean, to call this a war, this funny little thing? This is not a war. I fought in a bigger war than you will ever know. I did worse things than you could ever imagine. And when I close my eyes, I hear more screams than anyone could ever be able to count. And you know what you do with all that pain? Shall I tell you where you put it? You hold it tight. It burns your hand. And you say this: no one else will ever have to live like this. No one else will ever have to feel this pain. Not on my watch.
Albert, when I came to those calculations, we thought we might start a chain reaction that would destroy the entire world.
I remember it well. What happened?
I believe we did.
Bishop Williamson, are these your words? There was not one Jew killed by the gas chambers. It was all lies, lies, lies. Are these your words?
You're quoting from Canada, I believe, yes, of many years ago. I believe that the historical evidence is hugely against 6 million Jews having been deliberately gassed in gas chambers as a deliberate policy of Adolf Hitler.
But you say not one Jew was killed?
In gas chambers.
So there was no gas chambers?
I believe there were no gas chambers, yes. I think as far as I have studied the evidence, I'm not going by emotion, I'm going by, as far as I've understood the evidence, I think, for instance, people who are against what is very widely believed today about, quote unquote, the Holocaust, I think that people those people conclude, the revisionists as they're called, I think the most serious conclude that between 200,000 and 300,000 Jews perished in Nazi concentration camps, but not one of them by gassing in a gas chamber. You may have heard of the Leuchter report. Fred Leuchter was an expert in gas chambers. He designed 3 gas chambers for 3 states, 3 of the 50 United States, for the execution of criminals. So he knew what's involved. And he studied what the supposed gas chambers in Germany at some point in the 1980s, what remains of the supposed gas chambers, the crematoria at Birkenau, Auschwitz, for instance. And his conclusion, his expert conclusion was it's impossible that these could ever have served for the gassing of large numbers of people. Because cyanide gas is very dangerous. If you let's supposing you gas 300 people that you've crowded into one chamber and you gas them, they're all wearing some clothes, or for instance, if they're wearing any clothes, it's very dangerous to go in and pull out the corpses. Because one whiff of gas that's trapped in the clothing and escapes from the clothing will kill the person. It's extremely dangerous. In order to, once you've gassed people, you've got to get rid of you've got to evacuate the gas to be able to get into the chamber again and use it. To evacuate the gas, you need a high chimney. If it's a low chimney, the gas goes onto the pavement and kills anybody walking by. You need a high chimney, right? I forget how high he says it must be. If there was a high chimney, then the shadow, most times of day, the shadow would have fallen on the ground, and the Allied aerial photographers that flew over the camps would have picked up the shadow of this chimney. There were never any such shadows. There was no such chimney, in which case, according to Fred Leuchter's testimony, there can't have been gas chambers. He looks at the doors and he says the door has to be absolutely airtight. Otherwise, again, the gas escapes and kills the people outside. The doors of the gas chamber that is shown to tourists at Auschwitz is absolutely not airtight. Absolutely not. So,
what you're saying now is that the Holocaust never occurred. Not in the way history is written today.
I am going by what I judge to be the historical evidence, according to people who have observed and examined that evidence. I believe that what they conclude, if they change their conclusion, I would be liable to follow their conclusion, because I think they judge by the evidence. I think that 200,000 to 300,000 Jews perished in Nazi concentration camps, but nothing like that. None of them by a gas chamber. I don't. If
this is not anti-Semitism, what is anti-Semitism?
Anti-Semitism. If anti-Semitism is bad, it's against truth. If something is true, it's not bad. I'm not interested in the word anti-Semitism. I mean, it's the word is very dangerous.
The bishop calls you anti-Semite.
The bishop can call me. He can call me a dinosaur. He can call me an idiot. He can call me what he likes. This is not a question of name calling. This is a question of historical truth. Historical truth goes by evidence and not by emotion. There's certainly been a huge exploitation. Germany has paid out billions and billions of Deutschmarks and now euros because the Germans have a guilt complex about their having gassed 6 million Jews. But I don't think 6 million Jews were gassed. Now, be careful. I beg of you, this is against the law in Germany. If there was somebody of the German state, you could have me thrown into prison before I leave Germany. I hope that's not your intention.
Impact of childhood vaccination on short and long-term chronic health outcomes in children, a birth cohort study. I've never seen this study before.
18,468 subjects.
Henry Ford, like other institutions, has a bias towards the goodness of vaccines. If the results came back demonstrating that the battery of vaccines was associated with chronic diseases, such a result would be particularly convincing. This could be essentially one of the most valuable studies in the field.
The vaccinated subjects were over 4 times more likely to have an asthma diagnosis.
600% more acute and chronic ear infections.
4.47 times the amount of speech disorders in the vaccinated compared to the unvaccinated.
5.5 times risk. 616% increase. Learning issues, developmental delays, speech delays, language delays.
Amongst the unvaccinated group, there were 0.
There was 0 brain dysfunction, 0 diabetes, 0 behavioral problems, 0 learning disabilities, 0 intellectual disabilities, 0 tics, and 0 other psychological disabilities. None.
It's a big difference.
It's very important that this study sees the light of day.
This is devastating.
This paper should have been rushed to publication on an emergency basis.
We are systematically making kids sick, and not just a little bit sick. Very sick.
This may be the most important study that has ever been done, and it needs to be published.
He knows if he puts his name on this, his career is over.
I mean, obviously, really emotional.
Zervo's probably going to lose his job over this.
Oh, we'll get you off that snackle, yes we will.
Oh, we'll get you off that smack, oh yes we will. Oh, we're gonna get you off that smack. We'll kick that monkey right off your back and get your life on track, oh yes we will. It's important to get started now though, you know why? Cause the smack can lead to crack, oh yes it can. Carl, you know what I'm talking about, brother. Sing it with me now. Giving up that smack, oh yes we are.
Oh yeah. Totally better than Nirvana. Totally better than Nirvana.